The small town of Dreary was never quite the same after that fateful night, when a group of teenagers stumbled upon an ancient burial ground and unleashed something dark and malevolent. The locals knew to stay away from the woods, but for some reason, Leah felt drawn there. She had always been fascinated by the stories her grandmother told her about their family's history in Dreary. Her grandmother claimed that they were descended from a long line of witches who had lived in the town since its founding. But Leah never believed in magic, let alone the supernatural. That all changed when she met Jack, a handsome stranger who claimed to know about their family's legacy and promised to take her on a tour of the burial ground. She was hesitant at first, but eventually agreed to go with him. As they walked through the woods, Leah couldn't shake off the feeling that something was watching them from the trees. When they reached the burial ground, Jack began to recite an incantation he claimed would keep them safe. But as soon as he finished, a chilling howl echoed throughout the forest. The air around them seemed to grow colder and darker, and Leah felt her heart pounding in her chest. Suddenly, they were surrounded by shadows. Jack's eyes went wide with fear as he realized that something had followed them into the woods. Leah tried to run but tripped over a root, falling to the ground. She looked up just in time to see Jack being dragged away by unseen hands. Panicked and alone, Leah ran back through the forest, her heart pounding with fear as she heard footsteps following close behind. Suddenly, something grabbed her from behind, pulling her into a dark alleyway. She screamed, but no one came to help her. The darkness closed in around her, and all was blackness. When Leah woke up, she found herself lying on the ground with Jack's body beside her. He was dead, his eyes wide open and staring at nothing. As she tried to make sense of what had happened, a hand reached out from the shadows and touched her cheek. She screamed, but no one came to help her. The darkness closed in around her and all was blackness. Leah woke up once again, this time in her own bed. She thought it was all just a bad dream until she saw the black mark on her wrist, a symbol she couldn't recognize. She felt drained, as if all her energy was drained from her body. She didn't know how she got home or who brought her there. Leah decided to dig into her family's history to find out the truth about their supposed witch heritage. She found out that her family was indeed tied to dark magic, and that an ancient curse was placed upon them. Anyone who ventures into the burial ground is meant to suffer an unbearable fate, and it didn't matter if one was a believer of the supernatural or not. Haunted by the loss of Jack and her own experience, Leah made it her mission to break the curse. She sought out the help of a local psychic who confirmed the curse's existence and offered to guide her in lifting it. The process was a long one, demanding much of her mental and emotional strength. But Leah persevered, for the sake of her family and the safety of future generations who might unknowingly wander into the woods. Finally, after months of intense study and preparation, Leah stood back in the same spot where she and Jack first entered the burial ground. With every incantation she spoke, the darkness surrounding the forest began to dissipate. The winds calmed, and the eerie howls ceased. And then, silence reigned over the forest for the first time in ages. Although she accomplished what she set out to do, Leah never fully got over the trauma of that fateful night. However, the experience made her a more empathetic and thoughtful person. She continued to live her life in Dreary, but made sure never to forget the lessons that she had learned.